Okay, let's see. Let's go through the presentation now. First of all, thank you very much. It's always great to come back to Santiago. What's happening? I don't know if it's happened to you or not, but for me, it's quite clear in Peru with my clients that almost all our clients are changing areas or moving teams or divisions. Unfortunately, we also have people leaving the company. So I would just like to explain a little bit that today I'm the director of innovation and technology of something I founded. I'm not a manager, I have a boss. So it's less. Answer to your question, it's less. I do not have an office.
En la empresa trabajo a veces en cafés, cuando voy a la oficina trabajo en alguna escritorio, en una sala de reunión que hay, porque sobre todo estoy tratando de cambiar un poco a la organización y también estoy tratando de ayudar a cambiar a mis clientes. Lo que quiero saber para tener una idea básica de dónde están, he traído dos ejemplos de lo que estamos haciendo, pero quiero saber, ¿hay algunas personas de bancos acá? ¿Bancos? ¿Ok? ¿Hay algún caso de bancos? Retail acá. Educación. ¿Ok? Bastante educación también. ¿Y tecnología o telecomunicaciones? Ok. Bueno, también dentro de lo que yo hago desde hace más o menos 5 años, dirijo los programas de posgrado de marketing digital y ahora también a partir de 2017 transformación digital en la Universidad del Pacífico, que entiendo que es más o menos con la Universidad Andrés Bello, más o menos parecido también a lo que se tiene. Y bueno, ahí está mi handle en Twitter. Si tienen el hashtag también lo pueden usar si tienen alguna consulta que no tienen. Lo primero que quiero mostrarles es este edificio. Este es un edificio que cuando yo tenía 17 años y empezaba a estudiar en la universidad, hace ya bastantes años, me llamaba la atención. Era un edificio que estaba colgado, estaba puesto en el medio del centro de Lima y era un edificio que hace 17 años, 20 años se veía así y hoy día se ve igualmente así. O sea, nunca fue utilizado. Por muchos errores y todo. Y yo les digo a mis clientes normalmente, mira ese edificio ahí, Emancipación con Tacna, donde está la calle, así va a ser tu negocio, así va a quedar tu empresa, así va a quedar mi empresa si no hacemos algo. Hoy he decidido ser positivo, normalmente he sido un poco negativo. Y la idea es que este tiempo nos está cambiando mucho, pero yo me siento muy emocionado de poder vivir en una época en la que voy a ver tal vez un robot más inteligente que un ser humano. Voy a poder ver autos autónomos, que de hecho ya hay, pero ya de forma masiva. Voy a poder presenciar que tal vez, como Avinash, y lo mencioné el año pasado, diga que es la última generación que va a morir porque nuestro cerebro se va a transferir bajo otras ondas y vamos a vivir en otros espacios. Y esto está cambiando nuestra organización. Y lo que yo quiero mostrarles es cómo, primero, estoy cambiando un poco la empresa que tengo, muy rápido, 2 slides, y luego, cómo estamos ayudando a cambiar a nuestros clientes ese punto. Porque, por ejemplo, en el tema de bancos, tenemos muchas empresas de fintech que están atacando o están tomando parte del negocio en educación, la parte de los MOOCs, o incluso instituciones que ya no están reconocidas por el ministerio, están llevando a sus estudiantes, o muchos estudiantes están optando también por tener educaciones complementarias, ya no solamente hacer posgrados, sino tal vez seguir algo por internet o complementarlo. De hecho, lo vamos a revisar. Cuando hablamos de innovación tenemos que hablar de 2 tipos de innovación. Perdón que esto es un poco los 2 slides solamente de profesor que tengo, que esto es algo de Clayton Christensen de Harvard. Él nos dice que siempre uno puede ir mejorando un producto.
So Christensen from Harvard says that can always improve a product, but there is something that is going to be in the market, such as Uber, for example, for transportation, or Airbnb for hotels. But something is going to change the whole market. That might happen. Something I'm mentioning in the company is that we have to continue working just as Mentalidad Web or MidWeb or Abaco that are part of digital intelligence, we offer these types, of course, of services. But I don't think that the specific. I'm sorry if I'm not if I'm saying something correct, but I don't think it's going to last for long. If we do not change the way in which we render services as consultants, we are also going to disappear, or we are not going to be as important as needed, which is, of course, as the same as disappearing. I said I was going to be positive, so let me go back to being positive. Well, the idea is that I have to create some kind of platform or software that could bring me back to my solutions, the solutions that will substitute the systems that we have right now. Maybe buying or purchasing or acquiring a startup of some kind of project that will help us evolve. And I think that when you look at this, you might feel identified with it. Some people say that universities have not been here for more than 5 years. I'm not being very positive, but let me move forward. I would like to introduce now the case of what we are thinking right now. If there's something that Madhu or Scott mentioned is that we are living in a world of experiences. So the idea is that we have to work on those experiences and the way in which you make others feel or even move them, right? The way in which we are. So what we can do to make that different. So this is really a very interesting thought for me. If you want to persuade, to convince me, you have to think my thoughts, feel my feelings, and speak my words. And that is something that as marketers, we have to take a closer look at. But why? I'm always asking myself, how many companies really develop an incredible service? Uber, Starbucks. And in Peru, this is not a company. If I ask here in Chile, what is a company that really, and please feel free to answer, gives us a service that is incredible? Mentalidad Web, of course, yes, besides Mentalidad Web, I should have said that. Okay, let's go beyond that. Let's show hands for them. Okay. But not many, right? Not many organizations. And we have identified, for example, that the reason behind this is that we have to be user-centered, but in most of the cases, we are KPIs-centered, financial KPI-centered. So we think that we have to, that if we want to understand people, we have to talk to them, and we have also to think out of the box from our traditional segmentation and try to go to archetypes. This is something that does not explain a person. For example, Paul, who's here, I'm not going to make any jokes. He always asks me not to do so. But he is like Dr. House. Let me say that. Okay, I just had to say it. Well, Paul and I maybe we are the same age. Maybe we think similarly. But he's going to buy one product, I'm going to buy a different one. His lifestyle is different from mine. Although ethnographically we're similar, so we have to create archetypes or people. We have 20 clients in Peru, but only 4 of them who work with them. And one of them is this bank we're going to talk about. And then talk about the consumer journey maps, complete maps, based on Google Analytics, based on surveys, on research. In order to illustrate this, let me share with you the BCP, or Banco de Crédito del Perú website. You're going to think that this is a very traditional bank if you look at the page. Not very interesting, whatever, but this is it. But if you go beyond, BCP is the most important bank in Peru, 33% share. That's a lot. I don't know in Chile there is a bank that has such an amount of share, 33% or something similar, but I think it's huge. Well, then we have BBVA or Continental, 21%, and Scotiabank, that is like VCI for you, also very innovative. What's happening? Well, BBVA thinks the thoughts and speaks the words of many people in Peru and feels their feelings. Because they have people like Gaston Acurio or Gianmarco, people who talk to people beyond finance. They talk about how to change their lives and also how to feel differently. They have musicians, for example, like this person to the left or the gentleman to the right, the one in a pink shirt. It's a very popular person, a comedian. He could communicate things that people sometimes do not understand. That's what the bank is competing with. The bank, this bank right now, BCP, I mean, is also hit by different factors. The banking sector is one of the highest impacts due to technology, internet access, etc. And it has already been through different storms, like the ones we're going to mention. BBVA, for example, pays 35 million to get rid of their managers that are not digital. A month ago, the chief digital officer was let go in Peru. It was, of course, the chief digital officer is the person who knows the most about it, but he was not as digital as he was supposed to be. So now we have another digital officer, chief digital officer. And look at this. The banking sector maybe has the largest amount of startups when you get money, share money, get loans, etc. And if we take a closer look to what McKinsey is saying, we realize that we needed to integrate a full experience of the user, of course, so that banks can prevail or grow. So data also, for me, data also has to be rendered to experience. Sometimes we just go as business as usual, and just with insights, of course, but we also have to take a closer look at what this generates and if this triggers certain reactions in a person. Because many times when we are in this allegedly called digital world that is not as digital as we think, that's why I say allegedly, because behind every digital device is a human being, we need to a closer look to this. For example, this is David. He's 32 years old. He works as a manager or editor manager, in fact, of the most important business magazine in Peru that is called Semana Económica. And he's going to get married. So he wants to get a new apartment. He's going to look for that in different portals, in different websites.
To look for real estate that are not part of the credit bank. They will sell data to him. Even BBVA has their own portals. David is one of the most older customers and important people there because he directs the business magazine that is the most important there. So when he's searching on how to think on his future, the credit bank is not in their first options, but the third one. And he arrives to this site that needs improvement. It's so simple, but they need change. It's got Google Analytics. They analyze the different things that happen in here. But what he feels is that his bank is not understanding the way he expected. So he goes to the physical branch of the bank and he receives some explanation, but he's not feeling that they are interested in what he needs. There's a new site to share with his wife, and David, in this hypothetical case, wants so much this credit bank or Banco de Crédito that he hires the mortgage with them. But what will happen? Something that we have been doing with bank. What if really we start losing our most important customers? What if really we do not get to know what happens with our customers and they go to other options? And the bank is so traditional in technology area to implement a change they could take up to 3 or 6 months to do it. So we developed with the bank this process. We gather with each of the areas, credit cards, mortgages, personal loans, to raise what are the objectives and marketing objectives that they need to cope with. Then strategic analytics and how to use the information correctly, working with ethnic analytics, then work on innovation with the data received, not just Google Analytics, but you will see the sources we've used, and we implemented and then we did feedback. We were able to eliminate reports, the workshops. Instead of reporting at the end of the month or every 15 days, they have access to data. But what we do is a workshop. We realized that working in teams, analyzing the data and telling the people what we see with that information and working with them with design thinking methodologies, we're able to create products to respond to the competition and to make decisions from now. We took 5 sources of information: digital analytics information with Google Analytics. We also use some complementary software, mouse stats, for instance, UX and A/B testing. We did some research using WhatsApp with focus groups with WhatsApps with the bank, and a primary research with a tool that is called Qualaroo. We got all the information together with the information of who is this person in the bank to create what we call the consumer journey map. The consumer journey map is the heat maps that you see here, the information that we get from different assets they do have. But this is the typical session with the bank. We got together, we create a group of people that from all the points of the contact points of the banks with apps, physical branches, salespeople, call center, points applications. How is the process a person will follow to get a loan, like a mortgage loan? So the points in blue are the good experiences. The ones in red are the poor experiences. And yellow is neutral experience. When we get quantitative data, we know the information where the problems are, and we deal with the points that could cause losing this client at a certain stage. And this is taken into something that is similar to it. This is simulation, just that. But the bank, when we finish raising that information and we work with that information, they know which are the contact points that are important to them that could change and improve their processes. That helped us to go through the avoiding of no one looking at the report because it was boring, or that people they want to participate in the workshop now because they see what to do with a product and they have an idea of the ability to participate. And as the boss said, I have said that 50 times, why don't we do it? They could say that to the boss, and managers, directors now ask that we go to these meetings because this is helping that data, as Mario and Scott so well mentioned, it's not just there in a place, but it helps you to create a new products. That's something we are changing. This is a first product that we realized that as a consulting business, we're not making reports. We need to make a bank create more mortgage loans and create the analytics digital culture into the bank. We have another bank that bought $500,000 of software analytics, the competitors of this. They were not able to implement it because the culture was not prepared to do it. There was no analytics culture, and we're working in these workshops to make that business people, not just digital marketing people, are able to understand what's this used for, so they know what are they investing in. This is a second subject that is not finished, but I want to show you because this is retail, so you see how we are thinking. One thing I think it's incredible is that customization is seen as a luxury, at least in Peru. I don't know in Chile, but what I see, if I'm in Peru, I continue to see the same retail page that my fiance is looking at, my mom is looking at, or my competitor, or a 15-year-old person. Why should we look at the same page if we have the retail, and retail has got what I am consuming, even the experience, not just the purchase experience, but what other products I have and what they do. And why should I look into the same page that everyone is doing it, is looking at? That we realize we need to change. I shouldn't get the same information, the same communication, the same advertising that others are receiving, and I could be feeling that it's an offense that with so much information, an insurance company, a retail telco, or bank, I continue to look at the same page. What I want to see is this. This is my Amazon homepage. I look for something that is not out of the normal before I could take that picture. So I did cleaning and cleaning, but okay. I'm researching the user experience now. or how to understand the problems of the customers in order to make and give solutions. It's not just a report, but what is the job to be done? So Amazon is saying, Daniel, we got jobs to be done book, and I bought it this morning. Just to give you the example, and I always have good recommendations. This page is different from Pablo's. I won't imagine what Pablo has got in his page. I assume it is exactly the same or similar, but we see what we review, what we have, and that's what we said. Plaza Via is a supermarket like a Jumbo here. Plaza Via has got a very simple website, maybe a lot more simple than what you would imagine. But we were with the marketing director, and he said, "I'm not investing a lot in technology, but I try to use the minimum possible solution that is giving a service. I prepare my team, my product, my logistics, and then I see if I could get a better solution." So they use BTEX. The price of this tool is zero, as they don't pay for license, but they pay a revenue share, which is 2 to 3%. But for them, that is very helpful now. The competitors are using Oracle, and the others using their proprietary system of Microsoft. I don't mean it is bad or good, but Plaza Via adjust the technology budget. They say first the team, then the knowledge, and then I need to think if technology matches, but I will use technology that allows for change. Plaza Via is part of the Peruvian supermarkets that is really, it has overpassed Cencosud and Falabella Group in the amount of stores or branches, but still behind in 2015 in sales. Maybe this year will be above Cencosud in sales, so it is the retail supermarket that is the most important in Peru. And Peruvian supermarkets, supermercados peruanos, excuse me, is part of uh, the group of companies that is Intercore. They have malls, home improvement stores, drugstores, schools, universities, department stores, postgraduate studies, insurance company. They are buying half of Peru, in fact. What you see here is a company that needs innovation, but that same page that you see, everyone is seeing it. So can we use Optimize to show something? So what we started to do, if we're already having the consumption pattern of purchase of Plaza Via people, as they have already 6 months using it, and you have a base of more than 1 million people, a database, so you know what they buy in the branches, why don't we start offering them a personalized or customized experience in their emails, in advertising? We are already doing it, but also in the web homepage. So what we started to do is taking Google Analytics information from their purchases to see what they're buying and what other things they buy together with them. So we have some graphs, and these graphs are helping us doing emailing specific people with several months on these personalized offers in regard to their purchase, even if they don't have the technology, as we could get it from Google Analytics data. We could offer a different experience when they get to the home. And if we normally know that they will purchase that, we will present that to them. That is a simple way. We are making a little experiment with a customer without technology, but we're looking at how to customize and put this success case. So we hope in months or maybe the next year, they could buy Google Analytics 360 and we could have the tool to do things. What we see, and sometimes I feel I'm not that positive, but technology is not the problem now. If you want, you could find solutions that are very simple to show that there's value behind what you could deliver. And this information is basically taken from Google Analytics, and we cross that with the information that the customer has with offline transactions. And we're also working for some of the customers on visualizing, not with Data Studio, but what Madhu and Scott already mentioned and reaffirmed is people do not want to get into Google Analytics or any tool. They want the insight. They want the interaction. They want a practical thing. So we're working on visualization projects with a tool which is free. Then we will soon turn it into Data Studio. We're doing storytelling with data. We tell the story with data, not just visualizing, but we could make this be shared throughout the organization. There's a bigger project that is called Smart Data Discovery. We are requiring more technology to have specific recommendations for customers, and eventually something that one of the customers said, it was his idea. He has feed maps. That means that you could see physically the heat maps of the online store, for instance, and we want to see what we could get from these different points because of the online experience is not equalized with the physical branch. So we want to see, as we have so many other projects, with this innovation and digital transformation project, I want to tell you, we could do it. All our organizations now are facing complex times, moments of change. If we do not turn to digital, if we don't use analytics, if we don't see mobile as the first option, or thinking about artificial intelligence or virtual reality or augmented reality, we're out of the context. But we need to start with what we have and start with data. Data is going to generate and make a difference. We don't need to be that negative as I am or as I could think. It is just as when you start in a concert, that emotion before the group is out in the stage. The best thing is yet to come. That's my firm belief. Thank you.
Solo unos minutos para un espacio de preguntas.
Just a couple of minutes for questions. You could also have questions in English. We'll do it into Spanish. It's not just Daniel's view of his company, but what they imprint in their customers. It is direct what's the path to go for. He goes one step forward, if not many steps forward. He's got all the models to implement with the customers, and he's implementing this in his own company. So it's a luxury to have Daniel here. If you have questions, if you want to drill down into something else, just ask. Any concerns? Are you really serious? Okay. Daniel, thank you very much. Oh, we got a question. Dr. House. Dr. House wants to know, you mentioned people, they don't want to see the reports, the business ones, in fact, especially the business ones. I want to understand, as we work as agencies or even marketing departments, to change that and motivate them. What is it that it doesn't work in the reports? When you do historical linkings, then you initially receive a better response. What is this? Generating reports that will rapidly put us as a blind to this insight.
I think that something that usually happens is when we have invited at least other people from other areas, is to try to understand data, sometimes, or trying in our objective to do so. I'm of course talking about from our experience. It's very difficult to have an abstract or critical thoughts to understand visualization or display. And I think we really need it as well. Something that has worked so far, that instead of looking at reports or figures, what we usually do is to look at insights. This is the map, for example, of customer journey. This is what's supported in data. This is all the data that we need, all the research we need. But they say this by, or we start discussing on something that they could really look at. If someone from business, if you tell them the customer service is making sales not to grow or inhibiting from them to grow as important as they should or as large as they could, then they understand it, of course. If you just throw them data at them, they wouldn't understand. So visual thinking is helping us to display information and to socialize those pieces of data. So instead of just having a meeting to look at reports, we have workshops to create experiences with the consumer. That is much better, in fact. We have some other clients that are much more technical, that are retail, etc. That in our business areas, they do understand it, and we work in that in a mixed manner, sort of. Because I think that the current work is to try to do people to do something with that info. And many times is first to understand, and then, and much better, doing it. She has to work for the microphone. You were mentioning about workshops more than reports. I fully agree. Definitely. Reports, no more. Now, what I have found so far is that the areas that we use to communicate is usually marketing, right? So this does not usually communicate with others in the company. So sometimes you might have CRM, and you might you're taking so much time to give service, or maybe the form isn't working, and then, or something about advertising, in fact, because they are just marketing analytics, and they have marketing advertising. So you might tell them, okay, this campaign is not working, and it really happens that the problem is that they are not communicating among themselves. I don't know if you have found some kind of way to sorting this out. I don't talk to anyone else is the answer. That's it. No, I mean, I talk to them. What I mean is that I try to involve the business area. And this is also, maybe not because of us, I would say, but because of our clients. I don't know if you look at the Plaza B example, but the owner of the Intercorp group, that is called Carlos Rodriguez Pastor, he has created a model that I really like, which is 8 fellows. That's how they call them. He has 8 people in the most important companies in the group that are the ones that really share all the digital stuff. And that has really worked. These are people that are not marketing people, by the way. They are business people. But in the bank, the directive is that they have to be digital. And many times, what we work with is that we help them to increase these products in market share, in loans, in credit cards, and sometimes to try to get the 10 or 20% that the manager is asking for, so that we could go to total participation, total share. So my recommendation is to try to involve marketing people and also to try to include them, because if business area is not included, then these workshops that we are looking at on, for example, mortgage loans, the ones who's interested more into that is the manager, right? The marketing area is only 2 people. It's not really large. So, and they really have to give a lot of support in products. So since we have some kind of qualification on how digital they are, of course they want to be there. And since they will see certain things that they've never seen before because they did not read reports before, they are involved as well. So it happens sometimes that they just don't want to socialize because they do not know if we are going to be prepared or not to talk to the people in business. And what we usually do is to propose certain things, like let's have the first workshop with you, and if you think that it's fine and it's going to contribute with it, and if you're going to have more flexibility, etc., and if you're going to have their budgets, because sometimes they come from the business, by the way, and not analytics. So if it's going to help you in doing so, perfect. And when that has happened, we just say, okay, let's do the workshop, and we are going to help you so that you can do things that you want to do and implement. But I think that all this implies a cultural change. Culture is very important. This bank, for example, has $500,000 and hasn't been able to contribute on that or to do anything fully, and it's very complex, of course, is because it was not prepared. I really like what Plaza Bea does, because they first try to learn, train, then resources, then grow. I just earn my respect in other business areas. Others contribute, and then we start to see, okay, let's buy Google Analytics 360 or others, and let's try to do things what we have to do. But then the first thing is culture, and then is technology. You see that it's a different way of thinking it. Thank you, Daniel.